Do you know what? It was a match that I was really looking forward to. And then it sort of flattered to deceive because the quality, especially in the first 50 minutes, wasn't great. Leinster butchered a number of opportunities. The Cian Healy pass to Osborne, he then knocked it on. Dan Sheehan knocked it on. Johnny Sexton just had to catch and pass to run in the corner. He knocked it on. So yeah, it was just they struggled to get into find their second or third gear, Leinster. And in fairness to Munster, they just hung in there for large parts of the first half. Very little possession. Joey Carberry couldn't get his team moving around the pitch. And I thought Gary Ringrose was absolutely superb for 80 minutes for Leinster. So it was a tough day for Munster. Graham Rowntree said before the match that the team selection, the bodies that they had available, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't affect their performance. And I said it on air there at the weekend. Of course, it's going to affect your performance. If you do not have the same quality of player on the pitch, how are you going to play at the same level? So, I don't know where he was coming from. He was absolutely pumped up. It looked like he was going to take the pitch himself. There was steam coming out of his ears. It was Conor Morris who was interviewing him, and the questions were just being batted straight back at him. I was like, flipping heck. I know he's a pretty intense person. I worked with him in the 2009 Leinster, and he's a gentleman. And in fairness, he did get his team fired up because they showed a lot of character to hold Leinster out, and they got up off the ground time and time again and made tackles and knocked them back. I thought Sean Klein, I know he could very lucky to maybe still be in the pitch with the yellow card, but he was smashing boys back. John Hodnett as well, the open side for Munster was very good. Big Coombs at number 8, going about his work. But just feels that Munster are still lacking creativity. It just feels like when they do have possession, that they maybe go 3 or 4 phases and then they'll just end up kicking it because teams are just swallowing them up. And that's a concern going forward. Going forward into a game against Ulster this weekend. But Leinster beat Munster, I think, at a canter last weekend in the Aviva Stadium. And if that had been a European Cup quarter-final or semi-final with those two teams playing against each other, I think the scoreline would have been much more different. I always wonder, can you recover? And I've been in this myself because I got really bad food poisoning. I was in South Africa when I was climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, and the day before I was supposed to come home, we were at a barbecue having food, and I picked up a bug or whatever it was, food poisoning. And I also had to travel home, long haul flight the next day, sitting on the bog in airports for, 2 or 3 hours at a time. It was hard going. And when I got home, I was absolutely zapped, lost weight, constantly dehydrated. And I didn't have to get myself up to go to training the next day. I just had to pull myself together and recover for a few days. And I think the Ulster lads returned home a bit like the Glasgow guys on Monday afternoon. So Monday afternoon, you get home. Apparently, it was roughly around 20 lads that had got pretty ill out of the Ulster setup. So you've 20 lads, but there's maybe a squad of 35, 30 out there. So you've still got 10, 12 lads that are fresh. They make their way home. Didn't play against the Shark side, so they didn't get beaten up too much. Good victory against the Lions the week before. They'll be chomping at the bit, ready to go. Then they've got a big squad at home, another 10 or 15 lads that can easily step in and play URC rugby. So I don't think there's any worry of Ulster trying to field a half-decent squad against Munster. I don't think there'll be any trouble with that. It's just flying home, fatigued, and this goes for everybody. Then you have to jump on a bus, drive to Limerick 4 or 5 hours on the Friday, stay over, then get yourself up to play in a match, which probably the team sheets might have read a little differently if they hadn't got sick. So yeah, there's a lot of things to juggle. But I think this Ulster side can still beat Munster this weekend. I still think they can. I think Munster are in a place at the minute where they're still a work in progress. They're still getting used to their new coaches. They're going to be missing some of their internationals, Tadhg Byrne, Joey Carberry, Peter O'Mahony, Coombs, I think, as well, might be out. And then obviously all the injuries with Zebo, Earls, Conway, Healy, so you kind of go, geez, Ulster might be fielding a weak inside, but Munster could be fielding an even weaker side at home. So I think that's going to balance things out a lot more. And I think Ulster are in a really good place off that win against the Lions, and they'll fancy their chances against Munster. And it's been since I think the last time they won down in Thomond Park was 2014. So it's a long time coming. And they'll be looking to try and get a bit of revenge and keep this momentum going, because Ulster are in a good place at the minute.